Good day everyone, I'm Ira Hassan Talentong and I'm going to discuss the text selection. So this topic is on text selection. As English teacher, we need to select text which will be appropriate for our students' needs, abilities, and interest. We should be systematic and principled in our approach to text selection. Now, here are the set of 8 criteria that we can use as a checklist to select text. Relevance, exploitability, authenticity, linguistic demands, cognitive demands, organization layout, content, theme or topic, and freedom from bias. So the first criteria is relevance. It is connected or appropriate to what is being done or considered. And so we should be asking ourselves this question. First, what are my students' need? Second, what are the learning outcomes and specific skills, learning strategies, attitude, and behavior? Third, how relevant and appropriate is the text? In helping me achieve the learning outcomes and the specific skills, learning strategies, and behavior which we have identified. The second criterion is exploitability. It is to take advantage of a person, situation, and etc., especially unethical or unjustly for one's own ends. In relation to this criterion, we should be asking ourselves these questions. First, does the text lend itself to interesting learning experience to be recognized? Second, is the text capable of generating and sustaining a range of questions for the teachers and students to post in order to stretch students' thinking? So, the third criterion is the authenticity, the quality of being authentic. For language learning to be meaningful to students, the context in the material should be authentic with a real world purpose, audience context, and culture for language learning. So we should ask ourselves these questions. First, does the text reflect real life experiences? Second, is the authentic in terms of purpose, audience, contextual, and culture? Third, does it contain language features that are appropriate to the type of text that is? Okay, next, the fourth criteria are the linguistic demands. It is refers to the demands of a learning task, including the word phrases and language structures. So we ask ourselves these questions. First, how dense is the text? Second, is the length of the text appropriate for the purpose of learning experiences? Third, is the vocabulary accessible to my students? And fourth, the contextual clues that are given that will provide my students ability to access unfamiliar words. Okay, next is the fifth criterion is cognitive demands. Cognitive demand is more than just rigor, or it is a mental state of a person experiences when they are so deeply engaged with a task that they use all of their mental resources and don't notice time passing. So in relation to this criterion, we should be asking ourselves these questions. First, how complex are the ideas in the text? Second, is the relationship between among the idea clearly linked and well signaled? Next is the sixth criterion is organization layout. The organization layout is useful for chart and contains organizational structures, and you can identify one or more key individuals who control different types of structures. So the question we should ask ourselves are: first, is the organization of the text clear? Second, is the type of font and font size appropriate for our students? Third, the does the visual serve as a useful purpose and just a point to make a good text allow reader to easily navigate through the text without having difficult to figure out which section should be read first? And the seventh criterion is the content, theme, or a topic of the text. A content theme is a broad topic, a series of sequential posts you publish fall under. Basically, you choose a topic to focus on for a set period of time, such as week or entire month, like that. Nearly every post you publish during that time should focus on the topic in one way or another. So the question we should ask ourselves for are first, is the content, theme, or topic age appropriate and accessible to our students of interest, to students of what gender, and is current. Second, does the text provide opportunities to learn about something relevant, meaningful, and interesting? And the last or the eighth criterion is the freedom from bias. A freedom from bias nurtures the partnership between the school and poly families on issues of diversity, equity, and social justice. Polystop are tracking big topics from civil rights to gender bias in our classroom or their classrooms. So, for the question we asked to consider are: first, is the text from the biases involving gender, race, religion, socioeconomic status, and nationality? Second, is the offensive in any ways in terms of stereotypes that are presented, or is there sensitive, controversial, and inappropriate subject matter? And third is there any culture subject specific content which will privilege some students over others? So that what we should know in text selection or about the text selection. So for summary, the text selection should be systematic, principled, and rigorous. And to achieve this, we should take into account the 8 criteria I have outlined or I have mentioned. So thank you.
Okay, so hi everyone. This is Venus Jennifer G, and now let's talk about censorship, protecting you from reality. Okay, so what does censorship means? So it is the suppression of speech, public communication, or other information on a basis that such material is considered objectionable, harmful, sensitive, or inconvenient. So, meaning to say, it is the one who is responsible of controlling the information and ideas which is being circulated within a society. Okay, so why do we need censorship, or what are the advantages of this censorship? So first we have it is to protect against hate and violence. So since censorship is the one who is controlling the information and ideas being yung napapublic, no? So it protects us against hate and violence. So napipigilan niya, no? And napoprotektahan niya yung mga tao against dito sa hate and violence. And then to prevent certain groups, religious sectors, and people from getting offended. So, madali na lang naman din yan intindihin, no? Self-explanatory naman yan. Next, we have to protect children from unhealthy content. So, especially nowadays, na yung internet is one of the most useful or siya yung pinaka nagagamit ng mga tao ngayon para maglabas ng kanilang mga saloobin, ng mga sama ng loob, kung kani-kanino man, which is naapektuhan na yung um, yung mga bata, 'di ba? Hindi na tayo nagiging aware dun sa mga naipo-post natin na naikakalat natin sa via internet, no? Hindi natin naapektuhan na pala yung mga bata dun sa mga content na naipo-post natin. Then it provides us with a way to stop false content. So usong-uso ngayon yung sinasabi natin na fake news. Okay? So within that, it provides us a way to stop na maikalat yung mga false content na yan or yung mga fake news na yan with the help of censorship. And then, it is to avoid virus and spam messages, to stop illegal materials in internet. So, di ba meron tayong minsan nababalitaan na ginagamit yung online para makagawa ng mga illegal na mga gawain. Okay, so with the help of censorship, napipigilan niya yung mga illegal na mga materials na yan na kumakalat sa internet. And then, some uneducated people may not know complex ideas in politics and then to minimize risk in national security. So, very important censorship para ma-minimize natin yung risk within the national security and para maging aware tayo, no, sa mga ginagawa natin or sa mga naipo-post natin, na ikakalat natin sa internet, no? Since we are in a modern na panahon na ngayon. Okay? So that's the advantages of censorship. So now let's talk about the platforms na kung saan mawi-witness natin yung censorship. We have the internet, cinema, books, newspaper, radio, magazines, and television. So, let's talk about these. Yung apat lang yata dito, okay? Let's talk about the 4 of these censorship platforms, okay? So, first we have the internet censorship. It is the control or suppression of the publishing or accessing of information on the internet. So, from the word itself, internet censorship, it is the way of controlling the ideas, the informations that is being posted via internet. So, yun lang yun. Okay? Each nation set their own laws on censorship of the internet. Some nations are more strict than others. So, according to what I have read, it is more strict sa India pagdating sa ganitong sa internet censorship. Next, we have the cinema censorship. Cinema censorship is the process of previewing a film, and it includes a decision either not to allow it for public viewing or to allow it for public viewing with certain modifications. So, with the help of cinema censorship, pinipreview niya yung mga film, yung mga drama na dapat ay ipapublic. Sila din yung nagde-decide kung ipapublic ba nila yung content na meron yung specific film na yun or not. Kasi, di ba, merong mga film na nagagawa na nakakapektong masama sa mga bata, yung hindi po pwede sa ganitong klaseng viewer. So, cinema censorship is the one responsible for that. No? It previews a film and then sila magde-decide kung ipapublic nila yon or not. Kasi sometimes meron dyang SPG, meron dyang PG, or pwede namang in general na viewers. Okay? And then we have the book censorship. It is the act of some authority taking measures to suppress ideas and information within a book. Censors typically identify as either a concerned parents, community members, who react to a text without reading, or local and national organizations. Books can be censored by burning, shelf removal, school censorships, and banning books. So, with the help of book censorship, meron tayo dyan yung burning, shelf removal, school censorship and banning books na pwedeng um, mag, ano dun sa book na hindi karapat dapat, no? Nasi-censor niya yun. Yung mga books. Okay, and ayun na nga, book censorship, it is about to suppress the ideas and information within a book. Just like yung mga naunang nabanggit. Okay, so who imposes censorship? Of course, we have the government, leaders of democracy, parents, military officials, business, tycoon. Teka, note nyo yan, guys. Then, okay, losses due to censorship. So, kung kanina meron tayong advantages, why do we need censorship? Now, we have the losses due to censorship or sabihin natin disadvantage ng censorship. Okay, first we have the originality of the information may be reduced. So, since yung censorship nga ay sinasala niya, kumbaga, yung mga informations and ideas, so, nawawala na yung originality ng isang information. Okay, kasi binabawasan niya minsan, ganyan, sinesensor niya yung mga informations na yan. Kung meron dyang invalid words or what, so, in-eliminate niya yon and yun nga, sinasuppress niya, kaya nawawala yung originality ng mga informations na meron. And it puts limit in learning. Why? Kasi nga, tulad ng nabanggit kanina, no, yung originality ng isang information ay nababawasan na. Kaya yung learning, yung nakukuha ng readers, ng viewers, ay nagkakaroon ng limit. Kasi yung informations ay nagkakaroon din ng limit, nawawala ng originality. And then, it represents one group of people in favor for what the majority wants. So, as always, majority wins. So, it prevents an individual from expressing themselves freely. So, dahil nga marami sa atin yung paggalit, no, kung ano-ano yung napopost. So, nagkakaroon tayo dyan ng nawawala yung freedom of speech, kumbaga, no? Kasi, minsan hindi natin alam na yung mga sinasabi natin is against na pala into violence. So, nape-prevent niya yung pag-express natin ng ating mga damdamin. Okay? And then censorship is the suppression of freedom of speech, nabanggit kanina. Sometimes it ruins the creativity or artistic effectiveness of a thing. Exactly. Kasi si censorship ay it's censored, no? Yung mga bagay-bagay na nakikita niya. So, paminsan, nasisira na yung mga creativity and effectiveness ng isang bagay. Kasi nga, siya ay nililimitahan niya, no? Nililimit niya yung mga nailalabas ng mga tao into media. Okay? It makes loss of privacy. It can also be used as a means of suppression agenda or agenda setting. So, ayun na yun, guys. Okay? It makes loss of privacy. Okay? So, I hope na may nalaman kayo. And I hope na malinaw lahat ng nasabi. Thank you for listening, guys. Please welcome the next reporter. That's all. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Glacy Villanueva, and now I am going to tackle about creating an ethical classroom environment. Anyone who has an idea once you have heard ethical. Okay, thank you. Okay, later on, I will going to discuss the coverage of ethical classroom environment. Okay, in this chapter, we will just be consider on how to plan and how to create a classroom environment which is conducive to students' learning and achievements. Okay, it says here that, please read. Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have creating an ethical classroom environment conducive to learning. Okay, class, please read. Okay, thank you. Okay, please read the next bullet. Okay, thank you. Okay, in short, the meaning of the first and the second bullet that we have is, as a teacher, we must tend to the unique needs of our students. Sometimes it's a must to coordinate several activities and often make quick decisions about how to respond in situations. Did you get it? Okay. Okay, next. How to create and maintain the productive learning environment. Now let's have a pattern to maintain the productive classroom environment, and later on I will discuss the following one by one. Okay, first we have arranging the classroom. Second, an effective classroom climate. Third is the setting limits. The fourth one is planning activities that keep students on task. And the last one is monitoring the students are doing. Okay, let's proceed to the first pattern to create and to maintain an ethical classroom environment. We have arranging the classroom. When we say arranging the classroom, we arrange the furniture in the classroom as well as the instructional materials and the equipment that we will be using. And always think about the outcomes of the arrangement that we made, because sometimes it affects the students' behavior. Because once we arrange the classroom, it tends to minimize the distractions and to facilitating teacher and student interactions. So if the plays are arranged chronologically, the students are more likely to pay attention and they become more actively involved in classroom activities. Okay, we have surveying the entire class. Okay, if your teacher are surveying the class, there is a possible sign that there is a confusion. That's why the teacher will detect the student difficulties and misbehavior. Okay, next, we have create an effective classroom environment. Under this, we have first, showing acceptance, respect, and caring. As a teacher, it is important to communicate respect for a student all the time. Because once the student believes that their teacher are genuinely caring, supportive, and respectful, the classroom matter or the students rather will become more interested and they enjoy the whole class session. Okay, next we have establishing a business-like, non-threatening atmosphere. Teacher and the students are accountable for achieving instructional objectives, yet not place them feel like failures. Next is communicating messages about school subject matter. Here, it is important for the student to give value about the school subject matter. And it is more likely focused on performance goals that sometimes leads into increasingly disruptive behavior. The goal of the teacher here is to demonstrate how the classroom topics is related to the outside world in order to assess learning in a meaningful and elaborative ways. Did you get it? Did you get my point? Okay. The next one is giving students a sense of control. It is important, or it is very self-explanatory class, right? It just simply means that to make sure that our student will accomplish the goals, we must control the direction of classroom events to some extent. Example, we can use strategies like give an advance notice about the upcoming activities, so it enabling the students to plan ahead. Another is providing the opportunities for the students to make choices on how to complete their assignments. So, it's enabling them to set some of their own priorities. Did you get it? Okay, last, we have creating a sense of community. In creating, this is important to both teacher and students to have shared goals. It is mutually respected and supportive of one another's effort. When a student shared a sense of community, they are more likely to exhibit Prosocial behavior, stay on task, express excitement, and achieving high level of learning. And an ethical classroom environment always bring a lower rate of emotional distress, disruptive classroom behavior, the violence, drug abuse, dropping out, and etc. Are we clear? Okay. Next, we have setting limits. We have four categories under this. Setting limits is vital in ethical classroom management. Why? Because first, is it establishing initial rules and procedures. Once the rules and procedures are being formulated, it becomes easier to follow and to remember the simple reminder to communicate clearly and explicitly. So, next we have presenting rules and procedures. As I experienced, most of the students are more likely to be intrinsically motivated to follow classroom rules and procedures. So if a teacher can present some information rather than forms of control. Okay, next we have reviewing existing rules and procedures. So if we have establishing and presenting, we also have reviewing. If the rules is not appropriate to the level of understanding of your student, it is better to revise it. Okay, next we have acknowledging students' feeling. Having an ethical environment is important always to acknowledge your students about their progress and contribution in the class. In that case, the student will accept the limitations imposed to their behavior. Okay, next, we have planning activities that keeps students on task. Okay, we have four subcategories to deal with it. First, keeping students busy and engaged. Always involve the student participation in any activity. Next is choosing at an appropriate level. It enables the student to practice normal classroom routines and procedures, so they give students a sense of enjoying activities in a comfortable way. Next, we have providing structure. For example, introducing a cooperative learning that giving them a clear but less directive task. Okay, next we have planning for transition.
Teacher Professionalism. Hi, I am Maribeth Ayambao and I will report about the teacher professionalism. What is professionalism? According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, professionalism is defined as the conduct, aims, or qualities that characterize or mark a profession or a professional person, and it defines a profession as a calling requiring specialized knowledge and often long and intensive academic preparation. What is teacher professionalism? Teacher professionalism is defined as the knowledge, skills, and practices that teachers must have in order to be effective educators. How teachers integrate their roles with knowledge and skills in order to enhance effective teaching and learning. In the context of teachers' professional life cycle, there are at least three stages of learning and shaping teachers' professionalism. The years of initial training, where formal academic training should be provided, the induction to the role, where specific supervision and support are necessary as part of the training, and lastly, continuing professional development as new academic, formal advanced training opportunities are gradually introduced. These are the skills you need in order to be a successful teacher. Every parent wants their child to be in a classroom led by a successful, effective teacher. The first one is effective classroom management. Effective classroom management is running a smooth, safe, and engaging classroom is paramount for successful teachers, according to Teaching.org. You can't implement your detailed creative lesson plans unless the classroom operates effectively. Thus, layout, organized centers, and explicitly posted learning targets clearly establish classroom rules and expectations, and the professional Authoritative teacher presence contribute to an environment where safety and learning come first. The second one is content instruction skills. Teachers should certainly know and understand the content they teach to the children. But just as importantly, they have skills directly associated with the content when it comes to how to teach the material, according to the National Council for Accreditation of Teacher Education. For example, a math teacher should have tools and strategies for teaching multiplication or quadratic equations that will help students to understand the content. That might include using hands-on materials, modeling, assigning a word problem to a group, and asking them to brainstorm for possible solutions or having students write down how they would go about solving the problems. The third one is communication is the key. Teachers don't work in isolation. Whether you're in a classroom filled with children, in a special education meeting involving parents and multiple administrators, or meeting with other teachers to design a curriculum sequence, you need to be able to communicate effectively. Active listening, friendly but professional discussion, articulating potential roadblocks to learning, and sharing positive news with families and administrators are all components of effective communications. Teachers Teachers should be able to set aside personal concerns and ego when dealing with frustrated or angry parents, communicating that their child's academic success is the top priority. The last one is disciplinary strategies for teachers. Becoming an effective teacher means not allowing classroom time to be wasted because of behavior problems. Some students tend to waste time on off-task behavior, but effective teachers do not allow this. According to Carleton College, the best teachers develop classroom routines so that students know what is expected of them from the minute they enter the classroom. Effective teachers are always fair, firm, and consistent. They show no favoritism. They do not tolerate rudeness or other inappropriate behaviors that interfere with learning. They never make empty threats and always follow through on what they say they're going to do. So let's move on to the signs of professionalism in a teacher. So the first one is neat appearance. Of course, as a teacher's appearance plays a role in conveying professionalism. A male teacher should wear dress pants and a polo shirt or button-down shirt, adding a tie or jacket for special occasions. Female teachers should wear appropriate clothing for the classroom also, avoiding short skirts and revealing tops. Many schools do not allow teachers to display facial piercing, tattoos, and brightly colored hair at work. In addition, teachers should refrain from drinking alcohol or smoking in the presence of students and avoid using foul language or acting inappropriately with colleagues or in view or earshot of students. Second one is positive interaction with students. When it comes to interacting with students, teacher must understand there is a fine line between being a caring adult and being a friend. Professional teachers do not let their desire to be liked by students get in the way of enforcing classroom and school rules. They do not show favoritism or discriminate against students. Third one is productive interaction with colleagues. Professional teachers strive to interact effectively with one another. Teachers in the same department may collaborate to share teaching strategies, analyze data, and discuss curriculum issues. Those who teach the same students meet regularly to discuss ways to improve student performance and make connections between subjects. The last one is ongoing professional training. Many states require teachers to participate in ongoing professional development programs to maintain their certification. Teachers committed to professionalism enthusiastically participate in training to stay abreast of advances in technology and emerging trends in education. They seek information and best practices and teaching strategies for all types of learners. Other interests include reading books, magazines, and blogs about educational leadership. That's all for my report. Thank you.